All right, well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Caitlin, the owner and founder of Wandering Soul Collective, and I have my two great friends with me who are also partners of the collective and collaborate and create with me. So Carly's here on my right, Lindsay's here on the left, and today we're just going to go through a yoga workshop incorporating yoga and chakras and the anatomical positioning of our bodies and finding a proper alignment between the skeletal, the muscular, and the energetical bodies that reside within us. So Carly's going to be holding divine space and light for us, offering Reiki, and I will send it off to you.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm honored to share this space with you and in person, Lindsay and Caitlin. Part of what I'll be doing and part of what Reiki is just the beautiful energy of the world around us, right? And that energy, you are made of matter, it lives within you. So part of what we'll be doing is just embracing that energy. I invite you to take a comfortable seat, something that helps you ground yourself, maybe feeling your sit bones in the space, and then also something that makes sure that your spine is in a nice long alignment so that way your root chakra and your crown chakra can both be receptive. If at any point during this, any of the practice or any of your movement today or watching this video, you feel you need to feel more energetic or receive, bring your hands together, prayer in front of your heart center, and just feel the energy as you gently push them together. Feel that energy build. Being right in front of your heart chakra, that's just going to build the light and love and energy that is within you, that is within the universe to heal. If you need a little bit more from that, take your hands from prayer center and cup them into a bowl and just bring them right under your heart. Feel that bowl fill up with the energy that I'm sending, the love and the light and the guidance. I'll open with just a small prayer, if you like, incantation of gratitude and joy. Thank you so much for this day. Thank you for the beauty we are going to express. Thank you for the movement of our bodies. Thank you for the life we've been given, the breath that nurtures us, and the love we all have to share. I'll continue to practice off camera, but if at any time you need some more energy, please feel free to bring your hands together, heart center, or in this bowl to receive. Thank you, ladies. Enjoy your practice.
Thank you, Carly. So now we'll begin continue the beginning of our practice with a gentle meditation where I'll be guiding our awareness through our energetic junctions within our bodies, also known as the chakras. This energetic system is one that has been honored in Chinese medicine, lots of Eastern philosophies and spiritualities for hundreds and thousands of years. So if this is something that you're unfamiliar with, that's okay. I urge you to take what sounds and feels delicious and nourishing to you, and anything that doesn't, like a buffet, just leave it for someone else. So we'll begin the meditation portion by softening our gaze, which maybe for you means to allow your eyelids to fall closed. But if that's uncomfortable, maybe your eyes stay open and your focus kind of becomes fuzzy. Maybe your eyes come to the edge of your nose or the space just beyond it. Maybe a still point on the wall. And wherever your gaze ends up being, whether it's the inside of your eyelids or a still point, that is your focus. That is your drishti, the Sanskrit word for focal point. Now, during this practice, as we cultivate alignment, we'll be aligning our bodies and our minds and our energetic intentions with this focal point. So if you imagine a straight line from that point that you're looking at all the way through your being into the core of the earth, and also passing up through the heavens, out into the universe, into the vast expanse. So let's imagine the tip top of our skull reaching all the way up into oblivion, out into the universe, the deepest, darkest depths of out there. Imagining that space that you thought of as a child when you asked, but what's outside of space? And that wise person you were asking said, more space. It's more space. Reach the crown of your head all the way up to that space. And allow that suspension of your skull to create a little more space for your eyebrows to just be. Maybe they separate a little bit as the space inside your forehead just softens. And may that softness drip down your jaw and melt into your throat, allowing your tongue to be soft, like warm taffy. And allowing that soft tongue that goes all the way down your throat to soften your trachea, your airways, to allow more oxygen into your heart space. And feel that warm softness melting the muscles between your ribs, allowing your breath to expand them a little bit further up toward your collarbones. Noticing your breath changing maybe with this new awareness of this melty cosmic heat dripping down through you. And allow this heat to continue to drip down to the space where your ribs and your abdomen meet. And allow that space to soften so that your diaphragm can open all the way down. And so that it can gently close with the suctioning of the change of air pressure. Feeling a calm washing over the belly as the base of the belly becomes liquid. We feel the arms lengthening down toward the earth with this relaxation washing over us. Recognizing any thoughts about other things we could be doing, and honoring those thoughts, those spaces within us that keep us moving, but asking them to please be still. We're focusing our energy now at our solar plexus in the base of our belly, right above our hips. And this is the space where creation begins. So often at this point in the meditation, all of the things that could be happening come to mind. Let's take a deep breath in. And with our exhale, let go of any obligation of fulfilling those tasks in this moment, because this moment is dedicated to now. And let that relaxation melt downward to the very base of the hips, space between the pubic bone and the tailbone, where the root chakra lies. This space is ruled by all of our basic needs, our foundation. May we honor this space that connects us to the earth, connects us to humanity. And imagine this nurturing warmth that we've pulled out of the heavens, out of space, and drawn down our center line. Imagine that energy rooting down through the sits bones, through the pubic bone, into the earth. Sprouting roots through the crust, breaking through all of the rubble, and reaching down into the earth's core, its fiery essence, creating heat and nourishment. Exhale everything out of you and allow anything that keeps rising up that you don't want to entertain to exit through your roots down into the earth, to be transmuted. And on your next inhale, draw that new energy up through your sits bones into the base of your core, into your root. Now if you have your sacred item near, reach for it and hold it in the palm of your right hand at your root chakra, the base of your hips. And if your hips are on the floor, that's okay. You can just set your sacred item down in front of your hips. Take a deep breath all the way into every crevice, all the way down deep into your roots. And then exhale gently, rising your sacred item up to the space just below your belly button, where your hips and your belly come together. Now see if you can't just notice the difference in vertical alignment, so that's up and down, from your very root to your sacral chakra. How does it feel to move from one elevation to the other? Notice if you're passing any judgments, like saying it feels good or bad, and allow those to just leave, because they don't serve a purpose here. We'd like to take a real inventory. Is it forward or back, or tighter or more loose, maybe warmer, or even more yellow? No judgments here. On your next inhale, rise your sacred item or just your hands up to the space just above your belly, to the solar plexus, space of creation. Taking stock of the energetic changes from this space to the last, the physical changes of alignment. And notice, can you bring it more in line with that focal point? On your next inhale, draw your sacred item up into your heart space. Between your prayer hands, maybe squeezing your palms together. If this is uncomfortable because your sacred item is just a little too big, you may take lotus hands with the outsides of your hands pressing one another, and your fingers spread wide. Drawing in the energy that we cultivated at the beginning of practice and that Carly has been continuously pouring into us so graciously. Let's focus our loving green energy down into our bowl, into our sacred item, and wash it with that beauty of love and light. Inhale, draw your hands up in front of your throat space, maybe coming in contact if you feel called. And notice how this space how this moment has changed now. Inhale, bring the hands up to the space between the eyebrows, the third eye. How does it feel to be here with your seat of intuition, your imagination? Inhale, take your hands just above your head. Maybe drawing your elbows into alignment with your shoulders. Just taking an inventory, what it's like to be in this body, in this moment, focusing in this space. Inhale, reach your hands up as high as you can, drawing your hands through that mental focal point of all the way up to the edge of space and all the way down to the core of the earth, rooting your hips down. Notice what happens with your center line if you draw your pubic bone up toward your belly button and your belly button into your spine. Can you cinch your ribs in towards your center line a little? Maybe this draws your chin down to your chest, and that's okay. If you feel any tension in your jaw, shake your head yes and no. Maybe drawing a figure 8 with your chin. And then we'll gently and intentionally bring our hands and our sacred item back down through this center line that we drew. Once again, taking inventory of the space and the way that we hold it in our bodies. Place your sacred item out in front. And with this new awareness of the way that our main chakras are functioning, we'll begin to loosen up the muscles and the nerves that work with them. So as we inhale, we'll root down into the sits bones and lift up with the crown of the head. And exhale, draw the belly button into the spine back behind the tailbone. Tilt the chin to the chest and curve the crown of the head forward. Inhale, reach the heart and the belly forward. Draw the shoulder blades back and down toward the hips. Lift the heart up. Exhale, reverse. So sort of like a cat-cow back if you've been to a yoga class before. Inhaling the heart in front of the hips and exhaling the heart behind the hips. And now we'll come back to center. Begin to create circles around the hips with the heart space. Taking it in one direction 3 times. Exhaling to the back of the space and inhaling to the front of the space. So this is our third round, but if you started a little later, take your sweet time. We're going to reverse our direction though. So if that confuses you, just take a moment and imagine yourself from the perspective of outer space, and it might get a little bit easier. Once you've taken 3 circles to each side, find stillness and take mental stock of how those energetic spaces in our center column are aligned now. Inhale, reach the right hand up overhead. Exhale, bend over to the left. Keeping the heart pointing up for an inhale. And then exhaling, bringing the heart down to the leg and walking the hands around to the center. And then inhaling as we walk over to the right. Place the right hand next to the right hip. Inhale, open the left arm up to the sky and reach the heart up. Exhale, take the left hand down, point the heart at the right leg, and walk back over to the left. Inhale, reach the right hand up, Shift the heart up to the sky. Exhale, bend a little further. Inhale, stack your spine for a neutral spine. And hands to heart center. Inhale, reach the left hand up overhead. Root down into the right hand to the right side of the hip. Exhale, bend over to the right. Inhale, reach the heart up. Exhale, bend the heart down toward the leg. Bring the left arm down and walk over to the right side. Keeping the hips pressed down to the earth. Inhale, raise the right hand up. Open the heart up to the sky. Exhale, bend back down to the left. Rooting down into the sits bones, pressing the hands into the earth. Gently crawling, feeling all those spaces around the vertebrae opening up. Inhale, reach the left arm up to the sky, reaching the heart up. Exhale, bend a little bit further to the right. Inhale, stack your vertebrae, starting your awareness down at the base of your spine. Now just feel how it feels to be here. I'm going to pass off the instruction to Caitlin. If you get confused at all about the postures we're moving through, feel free to look up at me. I will be practicing with you.
So from here, however it is comfortable, make yourself into a table pose. And we're gonna start by finding a really sturdy alignment in our table here. So first, by spreading the fingers as wide as possible. So making a lot of room between the thumb and the pinky finger. Our pointer fingers are gonna be nice and parallel and pointing towards the front of our mat here. From there, we're gonna press into the knuckles and into the fingertips. So much so that we could almost lift these domes of our wrists right up off the mat, making a little cave. And if you like to think of a little ladybug living under there, that might help so you don't squish her. From there, we're gonna spin the elbow creases. So right here on Lindsay, the backs of our elbows, not the bony part, towards the front of the mat. Hugging in the upper arm bones right here. Thinking about pulling them in, your arms might start to shake. That's okay, your muscles are working here. From there, squeeze the shoulder blades together just to feel what it feels like so that you can separate the shoulder blades apart. Beautiful. Still pressing down through the fingers, the knuckles and the fingertips, and making sure not to squeeze that little ladybug. Now from there, we're gonna think about the crown of our head, our crown chakra, and reaching it nice and long towards the front of the mat, all the way through all of the chakras and out through the tailbone, that root chakra here. And in order to bring those up and in line with each other, we're gonna think about pulling the belly button up towards the spine. So now our core is working here. We'll take a big breath in here and open your mouth side out. And you don't have to feel vulnerable if sighing it out feels a little uncomfortable because you're alone. So take a big breath in again. Press into the ground. Exhale. And now from here, we're gonna flip onto the tops of our feet, pressing them down into the mat, so much so. Take a big breath in. And on your exhale, hover your knees just off the mat slowly. Feel what that feels like to use your entire musculature system. And exhale, come on down to the mat. Sorry, Linz.
It's all right.
So from here, what we did in this table is we stacked our joints and our bones on top of each other. And if you were real up close next to Lindsay like I am, you could see that she's shaking because now her muscles are properly engaged. And this table should be pretty difficult. So from here, we're gonna move through a few cat and cows, but very slowly. So on our inhale, we're gonna think about our tailbone lifting up towards the ceiling, but keeping that belly button pulled into the spine. Pull the shoulders back, lift the gaze. Big breath in. And on your exhale, we're gonna bring the chin and the tailbone closer to each other underneath our body. On this next inhale, rise up into your cow pose and think about spreading the glutes away from one another. Beautiful. Exhale, chin to chest. Pull the belly button up as high as you can. Inhale to cow pose. Exhale, cat. Squeeze the glutes here. One last time, inhale to cow. This time, flip your toes back under, send your hips up and back for downward facing dog. So maybe here, taking a few rounds of breath to pedal out the heels, really letting one heel send down to the mat, root down. Take a few moments just to get comfortable here. And in order for us to stay here for a few breaths, we still want to stack in that sturdy foundation, stacking our joints, our bones, so that our muscles can properly engage and we don't tire ourselves out right here in down dog. So again, thinking about spreading the fingers nice and wide, rooting down into the knuckles and into the fingertips here. Spinning those elbow creases towards the front of the room. Hug the arms in together as you pull the shoulder blades apart. And you'll notice here, Lindsay has her knees bent. That's perfectly fine because she's able to send her chest back towards her thighs. Take a big breath in. And exhale, start reaching your heels down towards the ground. Lifting the sits bones up high. And here our chakras are flipped. But they're still nice and in line. Take one more breath here. Lift your heels. Bend your knees. And just gently step to the top of your mat. Taking your feet out wide as feels good. And finding a bind here. So maybe resting in ragdoll. Like Lindsay, she's grabbing opposite elbows. Letting the skull and the crown chakra hang heavy towards the mat. We're letting gravity be our best friends here. Maybe bending the knees enough so that your belly can rest right on your thighs. And taking a few rounds of passive breath here. Shaking the head out, making sure that we're not holding on to any muscles, but we're really giving our spine and our upper body a nice release here. And from here, take a big breath in. And exhale, start to put the weight in the balls of your feet. Beautiful. Now start to lift the tailbone up higher towards the ceiling. Still letting the upper body drop. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows or keeping your hands down if you feel like you might topple over. If that helps with your balance, that's okay too. And from here, we're going to start to lengthen the hamstrings. Get a nice stretch by pressing your heels down to the mat, lifting your tailbone up high. Again, making sure that we're not holding on into the head at all. Can easily be swayed side to side. Take a big breath in. And exhale, release your bind here. On your inhale, halfway lift, heel toe your feet together. And exhale, fold forward, rising the tailbone up high, crown of the heads down towards the ground. Inhale for another halfway lift, pressing into your shins. Exhale, fold forward. One last time here, halfway lift, and we're gonna stay. So as you can see, Lindsay's crown of her head, that crown chakra is reaching towards the front of the room. She's trying to get a long, long spine here, elongating the spine and getting some space in between the vertebrae. You'll notice that her shoulders are pulled back away from her ears. She's got a slight bend in her knees, sending her hips back. The weight is in the heels of her feet here. She's pulling her belly button up and in towards her spine, and this is still quite a difficult pose for her. We'll take one more breath in here and bow forward, exhale. Take a few rounds of breath here if you want to shake out your head, yes and no again. Maybe split the heels just a small distance apart. One more breath here. And exhale. On your inhale, press through all the four corners of your feet. Bend your knees to rise up tall. And exhale, bring your hands through that line, that energetic system that we just created and found for ourselves through the chakras. Let your hands come down by your side after you've ran through that. And then reach them back up. Big breath in here. Now exhale, fold forward. Halfway lift, flat back here. Come into a high plank. Again, finding that very sturdy foundation like we did in the first table and the downward facing dog here. The fingers are spread wide. The elbow creases are reaching towards the front of the room, hugging the upper arm bones in. Take the shoulder blades, pull them away. Lift the hips up just a smidge. Pull the belly button in. Squeeze the legs, you got it, Lynn. Squeeze the glutes and press out through your heels. Take one more deep breath in and send the hips up and back, downward facing dog. So Lynn knows that I'm a pretty powerful instructor. She might have forgot for a few rounds of breath there, but it's definitely come back to her. So if at all during this practice you need to come down and find a child's pose, Lynn can show you what that is right now. If you need to catch your breath at all, either bringing your knees together, sending your hips down on your heels, or taking them wider apart. This way we'll create a little bit more space, but also open the hips a little bit more. So whatever that you need to slow down, to find a few rounds of breath so that you can catch up with yourself, catch up with the practice. Do what you need, whatever it is.
But if you know a challenge is what you need, sometimes down dog's where it's at.
Yes. Down dog can also be a restorative pose, if you allow it to be. So from here, we're gonna lift the heels, take a breath in, bend your knees, look forward, get empty. And either hop or step to the front of your mat. Halfway lift, fresh new breath in. Bow forward, exhale. Rise up tall, reach your armpits up towards the ceiling. And bow forward. Halfway lift, flat back. Chaturanga, so we're moving from that high plank that we just found into a low plank. Squeezing the elbows in together. Flip the feet, upward facing dog. Pull the chest through the shoulders. Downward facing dog. Open your mouth. Let it go. Just 2 rounds of breath here. And exhale. Another full round of breath. Exhaling it all out. Preparing yourself to move. On your inhale, lift the heels. Bend your knees, look forward. Hop or step to the front. Halfway lift. Bow forward, exhale, crown comes down to the ground. To rise up tall, reaching the chakras all the way up in alignment, empowering and energizing. Bow forward, exhale. Halfway lift, fresh new breath. Chaturanga. Use your breath all the way through your high to low. Upward facing dog, big breath in here. Downward facing dog. This time the right foot is going to go ahead and step forward in between your hands for warrior 1. Spinning the back pinky edge of your left foot down towards the ground, rooting down here, and rising on your inhale. So from here, we're pressing that pinky edge of the left foot down into the mat to straighten this left leg here and squeeze right above the kneecap into the quad. And now if you look at Lindsay's hips here, or mine even, if you think about the way that the hips, just the skeletal part of the hips are structured, they create this bowl. And if we think about this pelvic bowl as being full of water, we don't want our core to dump it forward. Can you show what that looks like? So we don't want to arch the low back at all and have just the core kind of dumping forward here and letting that water spill. So we're gonna use the cue, hip points up towards our low ribs, tucking in that bowl that we've created. So if you want to look at the difference, you can rest if you want for a second. So having that natural arch, that natural arch in your back, lifting the hip points up towards the low ribs, the pelvic bowl is gonna stay nice and intact. We're not gonna spill any water here. So take a big breath in. And exhale, feel your core working here. Feel that root chakra really energetically moving. We'll take one more breath here. And chaturanga, or stay in high plank. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog, the left foot steps forward this time, warrior one. Rise on your inhale. And settle in on your exhale. So again, pressing through the right pinky edge to get a nice long line of energy throughout the leg. Lindsay is squeezing right above her kneecap. Her hip points are lifted up towards her ribs. Her chakras are in a nice alignment, rooting down here as she squeezes the heels towards one another and her legs start to shake. Take a big breath in. Exhale here. Another inhale in this nice grounding pose. And exhale. Last breath here, big breath in. Chaturanga, exhale. And upward facing dog, pulling the chest through, maybe lifting the gaze for the throat. Downward facing dog. Right foot's gonna step forward right away again for another warrior one. Spinning the back heel down. Finding those hip points square towards the front of the mat right away. We'll take a big breath in to reach the arms up high. Exhale, settle in. Inhale, lift the armpits up high, ribs up high. And on your exhale, find a warrior two, opening up the hips towards the side of your mat now. Depending on where the toes were, you might have to physically pick up the heel and open them up to a 90-degree angle or so. Now Lynn's going to show us what we don't want to do. So dipping this knee in towards the big toe, we don't want that at all. That's going to hurt us. We're going to start reaching it over towards the second and the third toe. Again, finding that nice back straight leg, pressing through the pinky edge, squeezing right above the knee, and squeezing the heels towards one another. Take a big breath in. Exhale. Now keeping the lower half right where it is, flip your front palm, reverse your warrior, reach up and back. Take a big breath in here. And exhale. One more breath to create space up. Exhale, lean back. One more breath here. Chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward this time. Warrior one. Take a big breath in. And start squeezing the heels together on your exhale. Keep pressing through the pinky edge of your right foot. Grounding here. Squeezing right above the knee. And again, checking in with those hip points. Make sure they're pulling up towards the ribs, not spilling the bowl. Take one more breath here. Reach the ribs and the armpits up. And on your exhale, open up to warrior two. Again, checking the alignment of your front knee. Make sure it's pulling towards the second and the third toe. As you squeeze your heels towards one another, think about squeezing the glutes together. So again, finding that really nice grounding sensation in this warrior two to root the chakra down towards the ground. Once you find that sturdy foundation, thinking about lifting the chest up high, lifting the crown of the head, nice and in line. We're energizing from the bottom all the way up through the crown. Exhale, settle in. Now reverse your warrior. Big breath in. And stay here for the exhale. So each inhale we think about getting length up through the crown of the head. And exhale, we can sit back just a little bit further. Take one more full round of breath here. Let it go. Inhale, less breath in. And chaturanga on your exhale. Upward facing dog. And downward facing dog. Giving yourself a few rounds of breath here. Maybe in child's pose. Maybe in down dog. To shake out the hips, pedal out the heels. When you're ready, we're gonna lift the right leg up. Big breath in. Step it in between your hands to find the warrior one foundation. Now before we're gonna rise up, we're already thinking about pressing the pinky edge of the foot down, squeezing the heels in together. Our legs are already shaking. Take a big breath in to rise up. And exhale, right away settle in. Inhale, reach the arms up, armpits and ribs go up high. Exhale to warrior two. Right away, dragging the heels in towards one another. Big breath in. Exhale, settle in a little deeper. Now on your inhale, reverse your warrior. And exhale to extended side angle. So either bringing that right forearm to your thigh and allowing yourself to help prop your knee open. If you're a little bit more flexible, you might be able to reach the ground. Whatever feels good for you. So that we're rooting the base of our spine, our root chakra. And we're able to expand and lengthen the crown of the head all the way towards the front of our mat. So getting that length to start to spin our chest open. Take a big breath in here. Exhale. One last full round. Let it go. One more breath. Chaturanga. Exhale all the way down. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Left foot steps forward. Warrior one. Again, we're finding that nice sturdy foundation. Lynn's rose right up. She's gonna come back down. Pulling the heels in together, pressing through the right pinky edge. Take a big breath in. Squeeze the glutes, rise up tall. Sinking in right away on your exhale. The inhale raises the armpits and the ribs up towards the ceiling. And exhale to warrior two. Again, spinning the hips lengthwise towards the edge of your mat. Take a big breath in. Exhale a little deeper here. Reverse your warrior, fresh new breath. Extended side angle, again bringing that left forearm either down to the thigh or down to the mat, whatever feels right for you. And so this time we're gonna think about the hips and pressing them forward towards the edges of your mat. Lifting the hip points up towards the low ribs and spinning the chest open towards the ceiling. So if you were to look at Lindsay from the front of her mat, she'd perfectly fit in between two parallel panes of glass. Or if being the cream in an Oreo cookie sounds better, you can do that too. So take one more breath in here. And chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. This time stepping the right foot right in between your hands. And we're gonna set up for a crescent lunge. So if Lindsay, you stay here for a second, we can show everyone. Lindsay's up high on the ball of her foot, but she's pressing through her heel here. All 10 toes are facing the front of the mat. And she's gonna take her right hip point back in line with the left, just a little bit. Squeeze the thighs together here. Take a big breath in. Exhale, her back is nice and long. On your inhale, press through your right heel and out through the left to rise up tall. That's okay if you wiggle a little here.
Wiggling a lot.
So she's gonna pull her hip points up towards her low ribs. That might put a little bend in the knee here. That's okay. You're still gonna send the energy out through your left heel. So take a big breath in to reach your arms up high. And on your exhale, bring your hands together. and we're gonna take a twist over to the right. So she's gonna bring her left elbow down and hook it right onto the outer edge of her right thigh. Keep squeezing the thighs in towards one another, pressing out through the back left heel. Now press your palms together and start to use that leverage to open up your heart and bring the palms closer to the sternum. Take one more breath here. Exhale back to a crescent lunge, you've got it. Inhale here, and chaturanga, great job. Again, if you need to take a second to find a breath, a child's pose, a quick down dog. And then we'll move to the other side. Knowing that we're almost done with the deepest strength training part of our workshop here. So on your inhale, lift your left leg up this time. Step it in between your hands to set up for that crescent lunge. So right away, squeezing the thighs, pulling that left hip point back in line with the right. Press down into the left heel and out into the right heel, squeezing right above the kneecap. Lindsay has a really nice straight back leg here. We'll take a big breath in. Exhale to reach the crown of your head towards the front of the mat. And inhale, rise up tall. Maybe wobble. Great job, Linz. Take a big breath in. Open your mouth, sigh it out again. Keep pressing out through that back heel, squeezing right above the knee. That's a really hard part. Lift the hip points up towards the low ribs. And exhale. Now reaching the arms up tall and taking a chair twist over to the left. So the right elbow is gonna hook onto the left thigh. And as you notice, Lindsay moves her core first from the waist so that she's using her core to get her there. Now keep pressing the palms of the hands together in order to rotate your chest to get your hands in line with your sternum. Again, the root chakra is really nice and sturdy here with her foundation in her legs. And she's lengthening all the way up through the chakras, out through the crown chakra to rotate her chest up towards the ceiling. We'll take one more breath in here. And chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing dog, staying here for a moment. Yeah, letting the chest melt through the shoulders, reaching the neck up long, opening up the throat, reaching the crown of the head towards the back of the room. We'll take a big breath in. Squeeze the legs, squeeze the thighs and the glutes. One more breath in, and downward facing dog. Open your mouth, exhale it all out. Pedal out your heels if that feels nice. From here, we're gonna inhale the heels up high. Bend your knees, look forward. Step or hop, yeah, that was right. Hop to the front of your mat. Halfway lift, big breath in. Bow forward, let it go. Now pressing through the four corners of your feet, rise up tall for a fresh new breath in, maybe bringing the palms to touch and the gaze up towards the palms. And then bringing your hands through that energetic center of your body, the line from the crown all the way down to the root chakra. From there, reach the palms forward towards the front of the room and find a mountain pose, splitting the heels just about hip width distance apart. Taking a few moments here to catch our breath and to prepare ourselves for the balancing sequence. So close your eyes and trust that I'll guide you safely through the rest. Lift all 10 toes up off of the mat. And feel maybe that weight distribution in between your feet here. Moving side to side, forward and back. Don't worry, you'll catch yourself if you start to wobble or maybe your eyes pop open. Now when you feel right underneath the big toe, that big toe mound, the pinky toe mound, and the two that surround your heels, when you feel all of them pressing equally into your mat, let the toes gently come back down to the mat. And now without actually moving your feet, drag your heels away from one another. Keep that Then drag the big toes away from one another. Your legs might be shaking. Let that energetic line rise all the way up right above the kneecaps, so squeeze the quads. That energy keeps lifting as you bring your hip points up towards your low ribs, squeezing the belly button in towards the spine. We'll take a big breath in to reach up through the spine and let your shoulders melt down your back. Spread the fingers nice and wide. Energy is coming down the shoulders, down the arms, and out through the fingertips. Then maybe back in and up the arms, and up through the crown of your head as you just slightly tuck your chin down towards your chest. So now you're standing in a really strong mountain pose. If I were to try to push Lindsay one way or the other, she's not going anywhere. Just like a mountain, she's standing firm. She's standing tall. She's taking up space. And she's not letting any external sources manipulate this person right here. A mountain takes to the rain the same way it does to the sun. And know that when times get tough in your life, in your job, in anything, in any part of who you are, closing your eyes, finding your breath, finding your feet underneath your head, standing up nice and tall, you can find this inner mountain pose. You can find the inner strength to get through anything that lies right ahead of you in your life. So we'll take a big breath in together and a cleansing breath out. On your next inhale, lift your arms up high, let the light back into your eyes. And bring your hands back through center. Now from here, we're gonna move into some balancing poses. So Lindsay's gonna press the weight into her left foot here and bring the right knee up towards the ceiling, flexing her toes. Again, her hip points are pulling up towards the low ribs. She's pulling the belly button into the spine. Maybe your hands stay at prayer center or come next to your hips. Beautiful. We'll take a big breath in here. Stay here if this is enough of a challenge for you. Or start to send that right leg back, pressing out through the heel, toes are down towards the mat. Lindsay's gonna keep her hips in line with one another, and she's finding airplane pose here. So take a big breath in, and exhale, reach the palms towards the back of the room. Inhale here. Exhale, you've got it. Take one more breath here. And slowly bring that left hand down to the block or to a mat. Your other left hand. Yeah. Open up your hips. Find half moon. So Lindsay's got her fingers floating. You can either take it floating if you have a strong core, or reach those fingertips down to the mat. So take a big breath in here. Use the core. Take one more breath. And slowly come back down to bring your knee down to standing. We'll take a halfway lift in between. So bowing forward, halfway lift. Bow forward all the way, exhale. Rise up tall again, finding that nice firm foundation in our legs. Bring your hands back through heart center. Again, keeping them here if that's good, or if having them out in mountain pose feels better, take what feels good to you. Press the weight down into your right four corners of your feet. Lift the left knee up towards the ceiling, flexing the left toes. Hip points up towards your low ribs. We'll take a big breath in here. Open your mouth, let it go. One last inhale to get nice and long through the crown of the head. And exhale, start to shift back, sending that back foot towards the back of the room. Pressing out through the heel, toes are spreading wide, down towards the mat. Find airplane here. Squeeze the glutes. Take a big breath in. Pull the belly button up and in towards the spine. Take one more breath here. Now bring that right hand down, start to twist open. The toes are gonna come towards parallel with your mat. Maybe put a little micro bend in your right knee if you need to reach the ground a little bit more. Take a big breath in to get length. And then exhale, start to spin the chest. Reach that left hip point up towards the ceiling. Take a big, take a big breath in here. Exhale. One more breath here. And bow forward. Let your head hang heavy. Split the heels if you'd like. Or come down into Malasana or a yogi squat if that sounds better. Taking the heels down to the mat, toes out slightly wide. Using your glutes to squeeze. I know I'm taking the passiveness out of it, aren't I? Squeezing the glutes to pry the knees open. So here we don't want to slump our backs at all, round our shoulders. We want the crown, the crown of our head reaching up high. And the chakra's nice and in line all the way through the spine, down through the root chakra as it pulls down towards the ground. Maybe, you take a few rounds of breath to move the neck here. Maybe take a few cat and cows, that's okay too. And then from here, we're slowly gonna make our way back into downward facing dog, however feels comfortable to you. Take a big breath in to lift the right leg and step it to the outer edge of your right hand. Now you can keep that left leg lifted if you'd like, or if you want to work a little bit more on the hips, take the back knee down to the ground. And we're going to heel toe that right foot out to the edge of our mat. Take the toes over so they were looking at 2 o'clock on a clock. And then roll onto the pinky edge, opening up that right hip point and the right knee. So we're in dragon pose now. And as you saw, Lindsay put the pressure in her left hand and is starting to open up gently the knee or right on the inner thigh here to help open up the hips a little bit deeper. And now if you want a little bit of a quad stretch, actually it's a lot of a quad stretch here for the back leg, you can lift those toes up off, reaching them towards your glute and reaching your right hand back to take a grasp on the foot or the ankle. If you've got a hold of it, pull it in just gently. Really feel that stretch. And just some other option here. If you let go of that back leg, gently bring it back down to the mat. You can walk down to your forearms here.
I think I need blocks to do that.
Yeah, you might need to put blocks underneath your forearms, a pillow if you have pillows, or just stay right up in your tall arms if you don't have the flexibility yet. And if you do have the flexibility and you're down on your tall arms, maybe, or you're down on your forearms, maybe you walk your torso over to the left, really feeling the stretch. If you're on blocks, maybe you do that too.
I think I could just reach the one over and I guess good.
Perfect. Yeah, take a second to explore here. And once you feel ready, slowly coming back to tall arms, pressing yourself back to downward facing dog. Shaking out the hips if need be. Pedaling out the heels. Twerking maybe. And then we'll lift the left leg up. Step it to the pinky edge of your left hand. Again, if this is enough of a stretch here, you can stay up on tall arms with your back leg lifted, or you can drop that back knee down to the mat. Make sure you're not right on the kneecap here, just a little bit above, and your toes can be tucked under or untucked, whatever feels better for your body. Now we're going to take that foot and walk it to the edge of our mat, and then the toes will spin towards 11 o'clock as we start to open up the hip and knee here. So a gentle reminder, are you letting that core spill down towards the floor here? Or can you pull your belly button up towards your face, using the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons, so we're not hurting the low back here? So Lindsay is gently pressing her knee open. Stay there if that feels good. Or maybe reach that into that quad stretch. The back foot lifts towards the glutes. Your left arm is coming back to meet the foot and gently pulling in, staying there if that's good, or walking down to your forearms on your blocks. Again, if you have the flexibility to come all the way down to the ground, maybe walking over to the right as you keep that left knee peeling open to the left. As you notice, Lindsay's spine is still nice and long here. Can you show them what it looks like if you were to round your spine? We don't want to do this at all. We'll be hurting our backs a little bit, and we're not getting into our hips. So as you watch the crown of her head pull forward, her chest and her heart pull forward, she's able to open up her hip and melt her hips down towards the ground. We'll just take 2 more rounds of breath here. One last full round. Making your way back up to tall arms. And just swinging that left foot back, coming into a table again. Take an upward facing dog if that feels better for you. Maybe a few rounds of cat and cow. And then from here, if you have blocks or a pillow or a blanket nearby, that could be great. But we're gonna take a frog pose. So Lindsay's gonna turn sideways on her mat. Now if you have knees that are a little bit weak or they hurt to be on your mat, you can take the edges of your mat and roll them up so that you can put your knees on a little bit of extra padding. Okay?
I think so.
So from here, you're gonna spread your knees nice and wide, almost as if you were gonna do some middle splits. And the feet, check back, are gonna come right in line with your knees, and your toes are gonna flex in towards your face. So from there, staying up on tall arms, if this is enough of a stretch, is perfectly fine. As you stay here, we're gonna keep shifting the hips back and reaching the tailbone up towards the ceiling. So we don't want to round our spine at all here, but instead we're trying to reach the tailbone up and back and press the hips back here. Now if it feels good to come on down to forearms, or even if you have blocks or a pillow handy, you can put them right underneath your chest. Maybe after a few rounds of breath. As you see, Lindsay is starting to widen her knees. She's got a nice flat back still. Just take 2 or 3 more rounds of breath here, closing the eyes, finding stillness. Using our breath to guide us through this difficult sensation. Take 1 more full round of breath together. Coming out of frog is never beautiful or graceful. One of the safest ways to do that is to go ahead and just scoot your body forward and come onto the belly. Taking the knees back together, or maybe keeping them right here, bringing your feet up towards the ceiling, and then just windshield wiper them next to each other, side to side.
It's nice.
Yeah. Gently letting the hips relax here. If you don't have a personal assistant to roll out your mat, use your feet. And slowly make your way back onto your mat, onto your back this time.
Where do you think my head should go?
Why don't you take it out the front?
Okay.
From here, we're just gonna let the soles of the feet come together, the knees open up wide. Bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your belly. Close the eyes and bring that awareness back to your breath. Feel the hand that's on your belly rising and falling. coming up towards the ceiling and back down to the floor. Feel your heart right underneath the hand that's on top of it, beating, letting you know that you're still alive. Each beat of your heart, each inhale and exhale. A gentle reminder once again that if you need to feel more loving energy, Carly is still practicing Reiki and holding that divine space for us. If you need to bring those hands like a bowl or to prayer hands in front of your heart to feel a little bit more uplifting energy, some more light and love in your heart, I invite you to do so here. Maybe if you need more intuitive wisdom of that light and love, bring it to your third eye. Slowly, we're gonna reach for the outer edges of our feet, coming into a happy baby. Maybe using the hands to pull the knees up towards your body. As you gently pull your feet down and your knees down towards the mat, press your feet up towards the ceiling, getting a nice stretch here. Maybe one leg bends as the other straightens, or you rock side to side. We've energized from the root down from the root up to the crown of our head. Our chakras should be nice and in line. And here we're going to give a little bit more love to ourselves by lifting the heart chakra up and the throat nice and open. So from here, gently release your bind. Let the soles of your feet go long on your mat. And we're going to move into a fish pose. So if you had a block or a bolster or a pillow next to you and you know how to go ahead and use that, go ahead and do that now. But Lindsay's going to demonstrate how we're going to do fish without one of those. So just with our bodies. So she's going to gently start to roll her shoulders open. And bring her hands down to the mat underneath her hips. Maybe bending the elbows up. And slowly pressing the tailbone and the sits bones down into the mat. Lifting the crown of the head, opening up the throat. Pulling the shoulder blades together. Maybe she'll allow herself to rest the crown of her head right down on the mat. And keep focusing the heart open towards the ceiling. Releasing the jaw here. Or if you would like to take it a little bit deeper, you can keep pulling the chest up towards your toes, lifting the crown of the head right off the mat, opening up the chest and the heart. Now if you have that blocker, your bolster, let's go ahead and come out of that. You can take the block, the bolster, a pillow, a blanket, or anything right along your shoulder blades. Go ahead, come on down. Let the palms open towards the ceiling. And let your crown of your head or the back of your skull rest right on your mat here. So taking up as much space as you'd like. Lindsay has her arms out to a T. We're letting the shoulders gently melt around the four corners of the block, the pillow, the bolster, the blanket, anything. As we've said a few times in class today, all of the alignment in your body should be feeling really energetic, maybe open. Maybe we found some of those blockages and allowed the floodgates to open and let the energy rise right through, up and down through our chakras, through our musculature system, through our skeletal system. But here with the heart lifted up high, we're opening up for love and light. Again, as Carly still is channeling that energy right into Lindsay and I, and to all of you who are viewing. And as you can see, the throat is nice and long here on Lindsay. She starts to tip her chin back a little bit, opening up the throat for communication. air, to speak her truth, and to allow the intentions that live and reside within our body to come out, and to exhale anything that no longer is serving her. And slowly take a big breath in. Exhale, sigh it out. Gently rolling off of our bolster here. A block. We're coming out of fish supported. Moving the block if you have something, any prop that you were using, and rolling right back onto your back. Hugging the knees up into the chest. Maybe rocking side to side. Isolating that movement just to the low back here. Feeling a nice massage. Taking a big breath in. And then letting the knees both drop over to the right side of your mat. Taking your arms out to goalpost or a T. And finding a spinal twist here. If your neck is healthy, your gaze can go in the opposite direction of your knees. So then just taking a mental note of that top hip point. Did it start to creep in towards your face and for your body to compress a little bit? Or can you send that hip point long and get a nice long spine here, a nice long side body? On each inhale, as we think about getting that length and making room in between the vertebra, we allow ourselves on our exhales to twist a little deeper, to detox a little further. Take one more full round of breath here. And on your inhale, gently bring the knees back into the chest. Exhale the knees over towards the left side of your mat. Again, if your neck is healthy, your gaze can go over opposite of your knees and your feet. Reaching for length on each inhale through the crown of your head, all the way through your tailbone, pressing that right hip point out towards the length of your mat. So that on each exhale we can twist a little bit more, detox a little bit more, bring out any blockages that still are in our system and no longer serving us. Close your eyes, take a few rounds of breath here. As I step out of the frame, once you're ready, bring the knees back into the chest. Make yourself into the tightest ball possible, bringing the forehead up to the knees. Take a huge breath in and exhale into Shavasana, letting the soles of the feet come apart, the toes drop wide away from one another. Take rest. And slowly start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, taking the tip of your thumb across the rest of your fingers, gently waking back up the physical body. stay here on your mat in Shavasana as Lindsay will take you through a guided Shavasana.
Shavasana is the Sanskrit word for corpse pose because it is known as a small death in which all of our energy and our being is finally allowed to be recycled back into the earth, to compost, to fully die and be digested, so that, like that energy we sent down into the core of the earth, we too can be transmuted by the magic of life and brought back to a nourishing state that can host germination and growth. So in this moment, your only job is to sink in. Allow your heels, your hips, your shoulders, and the back of your head to feel the weight of gravity, the energetic pull of the planet. Drawing your awareness down to your hips, notice this sinking feeling and how it's pulling your root chakra into the edge of the earth. Inhale and pump that fire with a little bit of air to stoke the heat and allow that warm smoke to fill your chest and your belly. And as you exhale, releasing whatever it is that's coming off of this decaying, notice how your chakras, your center line, is gently making its way closer and closer to Earth's edge. Imagine a space of light at the base of your spine, and another at the space behind your sex organs, between the earth and your sex organs. And then notice a light around your diaphragm. And draw that light closer to the earth as you exhale. Inhale, notice the light within your heart space and allow that light to flood out your arms and down into the earth. In your next inhale, bring your awareness to your throat and notice the light that comes from it. And root that light down into Mother Earth and allow her to cleanse that energy. Feel her send light back up into your throat and feel that light rise up into your third eye between your brow. And feel that light drawing back down into the earth through your skull, melting the muscles in your face, in your mouth, in your scalp. And then notice that light radiating from the crown of your head, the very tip top of your cranium, lengthening away from your heels and also drawing down into the earth. 3 breaths to just be here, now. Once you've taken your 3 breaths, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, roll your heels around in circles, rock your head from side to side, and gently make your way onto your right side of your body. Maybe bending into your knees. Welcome to fetus pose, the beginning of life, the seed. Stay here as long as you need to germinate. Maybe think back to that focal point, your drishti from earlier. Where is it that you find alignment? Can you imagine that space? What that feels like to be there in alignment. Take a deep breath in with that essence and exhale out the mouth. When you're ready, gently press yourself up to a comfortable seat. Maybe elevating your hips on a pillow or a block, or maybe rolling up your mat so that your hips can be nice and relaxed. And your knees can come toward the earth. And take this moment to allow your vessel, your body, your meat suit to be completely relaxed. Can you allow your belly to open big, like Buddhas, for big air to come in and nourish? Can you allow your hips to open and your knees to gently fall to the earth? Can your shoulders sink a little closer to your hips? Can you allow your jaw to hang like a hammock from your skull? If your lips part open, no one's judging you. Feel free to be a mouth breather in this moment if it feels right. Or if you'd like to find balance between the solar and lunar plexus that run through the chakras, those channels that move our masculine and feminine energies. Place the tongue upon the hard palate of the mouth. And channel your breath through your nostrils down into your core. In this state of relaxation and balance, can you cultivate a little more space vertically between your chakras so that horizontally these spaces may shift into alignment? I'd like to welcome you to find contact with your sacred item once more. If there's an area of your body that's having a hard time feeling ease, or maybe one that you found you need to pass some forgiveness to during this practice, I invite you to hold your sacred item in that space. And maybe you hold your hands in that bowl. Maybe mentally or visually imagining and seeing loving kindness filling that bowl. Maybe a light, whatever color feels most resonant with you. And as you inhale, feel the air pouring into your body. And when you're all the way full, take in a couple more sips and feel that overflowing into the bowl of your hands. And hold at the top. Take one more sip in. And then let it out. Relaxing the respiratory system. And allowing your eyes to open. Maybe taking your hands to heart center. Let's all bow our chin to our chest, lengthening the back of the neck. Turning our awareness down to the voice of intuition within us, the inner guru, the inner teacher. That space within me honors that space within each and every one of you who tuned in live, who are watching the replay, who are in this building that we are in now, anyone in Grand Rapids or on the planet Earth. The light within me honors that light within you. Namaste, friends.
Namaste.
If you have any questions, comments, anything that you feel called to share with us, please pop down in the comments and let us know what you think. We'll be posting more videos, more nourishment, more offerings from us on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, our Instagram. So follow us, subscribe to us, like us, reach out to us. We're super excited to be offering these more frequently. So let us know what you need and we'd be happy to offer that.
Thank you so much for tuning in today, live, or for watching the replay at any time. Our hearts go out to you guys. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace.
It done, we did it!
Anyone grabbing chocolate?
Is that the